Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. This is Mark Miles. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Guild Quality, and our topic today is going to be web marketing and social media strategies for the residential construction industry. We are delighted today to be joined by our partner, Surefire Social, and also to be joined by three of our great Guild Quality members, who I'll introduce a little bit later in the program. Today is the first in a series of webinars that Guild Quality will be giving that we've called the Owners Series. The purpose of this series is really to talk about topics that go well beyond customer satisfaction, the topics that are driving your business, and also perhaps the topics that may be keeping you up at night. Each of these sessions is going to include a presentation from one of our great business partners. Today it'll be Surefire Social, and it'll also include a panel discussion with our Guild Quality members. Coming out of these sessions, you guys are going to get very specific information and action steps to help you improve your business. And then coming out of these calls, we'll be offering you white papers as well as guidebooks that are actionable and can help you follow through on some of the ideas that you hear on the call. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Chris Marinis. Chris is the founder and CEO of Surefire Social. Chris has been in the marketing business for 25 years. Both interactive and traditional marketing. Chris is a leader in helping businesses use new technologies to grow their business. And today he's going to be covering social media strategies, how to establish a digital footprint, and also moderating the panel discussion. We're expecting for Chris's remarks to last around 15 minutes, and then we'll have 30 minutes for the panel discussion as well as open Q&A from the audience. So as Chris is going through this, please be thinking about the questions that you'd like to ask. We'll be using the chat toolbar on the right-hand side of your GoToMeeting screen. So please begin to fire away with questions during the course of the presentation, and we'll queue those up and ask them of our panel at the end. So with that, Chris, take it away.
Thank you, Mark, and thanks everybody for joining. This is going to be an awesome panel with some great folks to give you insights into what's working for them, which is always neat to hear. So I'm going to spend 15 minutes and quickly go through set the table on what internet marketing today, kind of a complete plan would look like that includes sort of broadly internet marketing and then specifically some social media strategies that are working for us and some of our clients around the country as well. So we're going to start with a zoom out here on this idea of signals. Visibility in your local market is based on sending signals, and those signals are no longer just on a website like it used to be historically. The web sort of atomized into thousands, if not millions of places. A lot of the things you've heard about like Facebook and YouTube and social bookmarks and things like that. So the challenge for local businesses is to be able to have some kind of processes and systems be visible in the right places that your customers are, and then bring them back into your home base and convert them to a lead. So there's sort of three pillars in doing that. One is a properly structured website where you've got not only a nice home page, but landing pages, for example, for the various services and key geographic areas that you service, so that you could link to those places to drive traffic and also use them for what we call SEO juice, and providing SEO juice to your overall plan. The second thing you want to do is create a digital footprint in this new social Web 2.0 world, and that's in social sites, Web 2.0 sites like social bookmarking and such, and directories like Yelp and Google Plus and Angie's List and other places like that, and have those complete listings. And the third part of this is content creation. In today's web, there are two really important things to think about that make those signals work. Number one is recency of content. So regularly publishing new things to show that you've got new content to show and index is really important. And then proximity is the other important piece of this too. Anchoring your physical presence in your service area with all kinds of geographic tags and things like that are really important in creating kind of the opportunity of a strong online visibility. And to give you an idea of how important this kind of atomized web is becoming, we put a quote here by Matt Cutts at Google about how they're using tweets and retweets as a way to determine the strength for organic listings and their algorithms. So it gives you an idea how they're dialing in now social and social visibility and recency. Now, this is a sort of a real brief sort of idea of a case study. We have a complete case study that we could show folks, but to give you an idea of how powerful this could be is when you combine, these three principles together, it really could make you more visible and ultimately get more leads. And this is an example of from June 2011 through April 2013, number of visitors, number of visits, number of page views, and ultimately number of leads. Tracking and measuring everything is so important, so you keep on optimizing it. So you can see the impact on a business, being able to generate magnitudes more leads, which gives you more ability to convert those leads, obviously, into sales. So let's talk about content for a second, and there's two real important components, we think, to content. One is promotional offers. People love promotional offers, and they're great ways to engage and make your offers viral now in this distributed web. So, what should you promote? Well, things like monthly offers, discounts, contests, sweepstakes, things tied to seasonality, manufacturer offers. Promotional offers now could go viral both from your website as well as within social media sites with different types of applications. And it's a great way to start to really leverage the promotions and get all that viral promotion for free. The other piece to content creation is quality content. And you probably, if you've been kind of tapped into blog posts and things like that about internet marketing, you know that content is so important to an inbound marketing strategy. So things like blog posts, infographics, press releases, handbooks, also add to things that you could post and make viral to create these signals that we talk about in the atomized web. So you think about how this relates directly to your business. You're going to a home show, or you sponsored the baseball team. You could do a press release around that and get leverage around it by putting it into places like PR Web and other types of press release formats. Infographics are a great way to show things like energy efficiency, or breaking down a window replacement or roofing project. So there's all kinds of ways to use this content, but relate it directly to your business and things going on in your business, and that's the key. So you don't have just general content, but you relate it to your business. Now, to give you an idea of how this could work, we'll talk about some specific social media strategies, and the first one we'll talk about a little bit is Facebook. And we've been working the last 8 months to a year with our clients on doing what we call promoted posts in Facebook. And it's really inexpensive to do these promoted posts. And what you could really do is get a lot more sharing, commenting, and liking of your posts by doing promoted posts. You could spend as little as $5 to $10 a day and be able to really make your content go viral that we just talked about. And this is an example of something that we're doing with Gutter Helmet, where they started out without us doing promoted posts, and then after doing promoted posts, an example of how you could really blow out the number of likes and the number of shares and things like that. But the real neat part of social media is that you could drive traffic, and it's qualified traffic to your website. And here's a snapshot of not the same client, a different client, but sort of in their local market, taking a look at how many more visits they were able to drive from Facebook, in this case, to their website. And it's interesting here because they probably had an ad in the LA Times at the same time. And that ad, you guys know how much advertising in newspapers probably cost, and Facebook's a lot less expensive. And you can see here, Facebook didn't drive quite as many visits, but if you look at the page views, the average duration of the visit, the percent new visits, the bounce rate, it's really high quality traffic that's engaging with the website, and we know because we also track leads that we're also generating leads from Facebook and other social media as well. So this stuff really can work to expand your net in your local market. The other strategy we want to quickly talk about is Google+. Now, those of you who have been engaged in this at all know that there's Google+, which is your personal profile, and every owner and executive in a company should have a Google+ personal profile, but you should also have a Google+ local page. Google+ local pages are very, very important. So creating a Google+ profile that has a description that matches the keywords and things like that that you're trying to rank for, and obviously your Google+ local page having the right categories and descriptions and pictures and videos and loading it up with all those things and changing it up are really, really important. But you can also join communities, add other people, influential people in your communities to be more visible on Google+. And Google+ is owned by Google. So because it's owned by Google, Google sort of dials in indexing Google+ posts really quickly. And we've noticed when we do Google+ posting for our clients and even ourselves, it gets indexed really quickly, especially for long tail stuff. So if you're careful with your titles and things like that, it could be really, really good for you in terms of expanding your visibility around long tail keywords. And then Twitter is another thing that we recommend. Now, there's lots of different things you can do in social media. There's Houzz and there's Pinterest and other places, and they're all great. But the one thing I'd caution is don't do too many things at once. Try to do a few things, get good at them, and expand. And these are the three things that if you were to just start getting going, to make sure you're doing these things well. Now, Twitter is a really great tool to use to get retweets of great content that you have and viral kind of tweeting of your content. The key thing on Twitter, if I'm a local contractor, is try to find out what the manufacturers you distribute are doing in terms of creating trending hashtags. Find out the trending hashtags for your services and then ride on those trending hashtags. And this is an example we posted here of a GF Master Elite using a hashtag GAF, but this could be, if there's a storm going on, it could be the name of the storm if it's a named storm, or it could be hail damage, or it could be things like that. So that you want to try to find out what the trending hashtags are, ride on those things, especially for exterior contractors. There's a lot of times where trending hashtags are created by local media and news organizations. Ride on those trending hashtags. And then online reviews. Of course, Guild Quality is a great resource to consistently be able to get online reviews for your business. Finding a way to consistently get online reviews and get those reviews posted are really important. Guild Quality is a channel for that, but don't ignore places like Yelp and Angie's List and Google+ as well. Having a system and a process where you're asking for those reviews, even getting testimonial reviews and other things are really important for both social proof as well as for people to do research on your company. Reviews come up in search results a lot. Google loves reviews. And this is an example of a Guild Quality review coming up for one of our panelists here, Thompson Creek. So with that, hopefully I did my 15 minutes of fame here. I'm going to hand this back over to Mark.
Chris, you did great. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce our panel, and then we'll tee up the discussion with these great Guild Quality members. The first member of our panel is George Schaub, Director of Marketing at Thompson Creek Windows. Thompson Creek's been a Guild Quality member since 2009. The Virginia, Maryland, and D.C. area window, siding, door, and gutter company is a 3-time Guildmaster with distinction winner and an overall leader in the replacement industry, to say the least. Leah Rattray, Marketing Administrator at Southwest Exteriors. Southwest Exteriors has been a Guild Quality member since 2006 and has been a recipient of our Guildmaster Service Excellence Award every year since 2007. The company prides itself on being San Antonio's most trusted siding, window, and door contractor. And finally, Jamie White, Internet Marketing Manager at Southern Industries. Southern Industries has been a Guild Quality member since 2011. Together, their 6 companies have completed over 67,000 jobs for over 45,000 households, and they attribute their success to quality products and exceptional customer satisfaction. Both Taylor Construction and Ultimate Gutter Guard received our Atlanta Service Excellence Award earlier this year. So welcome to our panelists. And I'll also mention, as I did before, to please type in any questions that you have for our panel using the chat toolbar on the right-hand side of your screen that's in the GoToMeeting panel. We've already received a bunch of questions. They're excellent questions that we've been going through. We will respond to every single question, even if we don't have a chance to do it live on this webinar. So please keep them coming. Chris, over to you.
All right, thank you, Mark. So we're going to go to our panelists, and what we'll do is we'll go sort of in an order of George, Leah, and then Jamie, so that we could keep it consistent. And since we're in remote locations, we make sure we don't step all over each other on this. So we're going to start out, George, with the question: what do you see as the most significant trends in online marketing for your business? What's the big trends that are working for you guys now at Thompson Creek?
One of the big things that I see is the use of video in all sorts of marketing. So if you look at social media, for example, you've got Vine, and now you have Instagram that's doing video, and I think that video is a great opportunity for either customers to give testimonials or people to share their experiences with your company.
Yeah, that's an excellent thought. And Google loves video, and if you post it to YouTube as well, it's a great way to index for different types of things. And we found that sometimes you could get that 1 in a million that sort of goes viral, and it really makes some great things happen. Leah, talk to us about what you're seeing, at Southwest Exteriors.
Yeah, one thing that we've really seen coming into the home improvement industry in particular is this idea of really openly and honestly educating people through your online channels instead of trying to blow smoke at them and just trying to get a quick sale. Companies are realizing that people want to know answers, and that honest answers don't really scare them away. They grow to trust companies that will be honest with them about things, even topics that used to be kind of taboo, like how much does this cost, or what are the disadvantages of your products instead of just the advantages. So what we've tried to do is turn our company blog into a way to just answer all of these questions that consumers ask us and are also looking for online. And that way, when they go in and type something into the search bar, they will find our blog post that clearly answers the question they're looking for, and grow to trust us more.
Yeah, that's great. The whole idea of this content creation piece of this is the idea of building trust and authority before you get in the home, and it makes ideally the close better if you're closing them on your properties, and they trust you because they've seen a lot of the stuff. That's great, Leah. Jamie, what about you? What are you seeing at Southern Industries that kind of really works for you guys?
We've noticed that we're starting to get more mobile traffic, so I think having a mobile presence is very important. So we're working on enhancing our mobile site.
Yeah, that's great. Mobile we see it becoming a bigger and bigger percentage of overall search traffic to our sites that we run across the country. Somewhere is upwards of 15 to 25% based on the market. So having a mobile-ready site is so important. Well, thanks for that. All right, George, we're going to tee this up for you now. What are some of the practical tips that you find for managing the online marketing effort? When we looked at that constellation of all the things that could be done, you got to kind of narrow it down and then figure out workflow and process and stuff. Any tips you could share on that?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Chris, when you're going through your initial segment. There are so many opportunities out there in the digital world, and I think that it's important that you can't just stick your toe in the water. So if you're going to do it, you've got to dive in, and you need to pick and choose what you're going to do, and make sure you don't try to take on too much, because you need to be engaged, and it's somewhat time intensive. So it's important that once you get in, that you really follow through and have a presence.
Yeah, that's great. that's a great tip. Do one thing, do it well, and then move on, as we always say. Leah, what about you? I know you guys have been doing the inbound stuff for a while. What are you finding works for you guys in terms of tips to manage it?
We find that a lot of our clients actually look for us on online review sites such as Angie's List, Better Business Bureau, Guild Quality, Yelp, and increasingly Google Plus Local. And so what we have done and are doing is really investing time and whatever resources are necessary into making those online review profiles really stand out there. If you have got just one review in an area, then it doesn't really lend much credibility to you. And if you don't really have your profile very complete, if it doesn't have pictures, if it doesn't have your business hours or things like that, people are not going to put a lot of stock in that, whereas if they see something that is very full, gives them a really good picture of who you are, as well as plenty of reviews that tell them what your actual clients think of you, they're going to be much more apt to trust you. So really investing in those profiles, I think, will go a long way for people.
Yeah, that's a really good point. A lot of people kind of create these profiles and they blow through them really quickly, just thinking they're making, they just want to do the basic stuff and have a presence. But so a lot of them allow you to do a lot of really cool things, and you want to make sure you fill those out completely. It's a good tip, Leah. Jamie, what about you? What are you guys thinking in terms of how you manage your internet marketing efforts?
I mean, I think it's important to continue to review the content that's on your website, making sure that it is written for the user, not the search. And that could be blogs. Also, using Google Analytics to kind of analyze your site, where the traffic's coming from, what keywords are using, how long they're staying. That can help you.
Yeah, excellent point. I mean, tracking and measuring everything. What's great about marketing today is the cost of trying things is not that high, except for time and building content. But if you track and measure stuff, you could sort of do more of what works and do less of what doesn't work every day and become more efficient and optimized. That's great, Jamie. Thanks for that tip. So, what content do you guys think that residential companies could be sharing online and on specifically social media sites that you find kind of resonates with people and you see people sharing or commenting or liking a lot? George, we'll tee that up for you again.
I think the key is to find something that people like. So, and don't just beat them over the head with your propaganda. So, if you have a big audience and you're just hitting them with offers, that's not going to do it. You've got to find some content that people are interested in. And we do a lot around energy efficiency and not just the products that we sell. So we talk about how to set your thermostat when you go on vacation, the different things that you could do to improve the energy efficiency of your home while it doesn't necessarily relate to our products.
That's a great point. One of the things that we like to talk to clients about and what our coaches do is we like to key into pain points that might be not directly related to, replacement window, but tie into replacement windows. That's a great way to do it, George. Great tip. Leah, what do you guys I know you do a lot of content creation. What are you finding works?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with George that you want to put things out there that your audience is interested in. You don't want it to just be always talking about how wonderful you are because people get tired of that. With your social media in particular, use that to tie into to your blog posts that are answering their questions. That ideally will lead to a lot of shares. Put up client testimonial videos and things like that so they can see what people are saying about you, but also put a real face with your name. Don't be afraid to share fun things like talking about the NBA series. I mean, obviously being from San Antonio, we did a lot of social media posts about the Spurs, and we were getting a lot of shares and likes on that, and put up fun pictures and videos of people in your office so that your audience can see that you're real people and that you're interested in the community just like they are.
Yeah, it's a good tip, Leah, to kind of integrate things that give a face to your company, as well as good content about what you do and problems people have. Kind of integrating some of that into it is a really good idea. Jamie, what do you find in terms of content that works for you guys?
Well, in addition to things that Leah and George shared, I would say also photo galleries. Showing off before and after shots of work would be something that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. People love photos, and Facebook is a great vehicle for that, because with the new timeline, it's all about photos. Great point. Right, so we'll tee up this other question. How do you guys encourage consumers to post reviews? We all know reviews are important. And then the other sort of, I guess, the big elephant in the room here is negative reviews, and how do you respond to those? I think this is going to be a big topic that I'm sure all you guys have a lot to talk about. We'll start with George.
Okay, so first, to how to encourage customers, we simply ask people, and you'd be surprised at the number of people that will go recommend you or give you a review just simply for asking. And then as far as how we respond to negative reviews, we address them head on. So it's, while our goal is 100% customer satisfaction, there are things that happen that people are dissatisfied. So it gives us an opportunity to go back and look at our process, but also to make it right for the customer in a public forum to show that we are here to work with the customer.
Yeah, getting engaged, and certainly don't ignore them is a good tip. Leah, anything you could share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Following what George said, we do the same thing. We physically ask our clients at the close of the job, hey, we would love for you to post online reviews for us because we want other people to have the same experience you had. And they will trust your word more than they will ours. I will also email them specifically words that they have said. And just a plug for Guild Quality, those reviews come directly from the client's mouths. So you can take their words and email it back to them and say, hey, these are your words. Would you go put them, tweak them a little bit so it fits with the character count and everything, but go put those on our Guild Quality, or excuse me, on our Angie's List profile. Go put that on our Google Plus local profile, and here's the link to get there. So that make it as easy for them as possible, and they do follow through. And then with negative reviews, we also address them as promptly as possible and as genuinely as possible. Our owner, Scott Barr, will personally call the client to follow up and say, hey, where did the breakdown occur? What can we do to make this right? Because while we also want every client to be as satisfied as possible, there will be times when someone isn't, but they respect you when you come back and say, I will do whatever I can to make it right.
Yeah, that's all good stuff. Hey, Jamie, it'd be good to get your feedback on this too, and particularly, have you had an experience, and maybe we should just go back to George and Leah after you talk too, where you tried to get a review that wasn't true off of one of these sites, and any luck or how do you any luck with that process at all?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, as far as going back, how do we encourage customers to post reviews? We ask them. We also work with Guild Quality to send surveys. But another thing, since we are in Atlanta, we do work with kudzu, and they'll send handwritten notes to our customers asking them to post reviews on our profile page. When somebody does post something negative about our company, we definitely respond. One of the things I do is I kind of try to do some research just to find out what happened, and then, we'll respond in a way to kind of take it offline, acknowledge the comments and feedback, and then try to take it offline. But I think it's important that you handle it and respond in a polite manner and not take it personally. I think that's key. As far as trying to get reviews off, I think you kind of have to take a look at each platform. Each platform has different user guidelines. So if somebody is clearly violating a guideline, you have a better shot of having that removed.
Yeah. Hey, George, do you have any sort of experience with, I think you might have shared it when we had the practice run that I thought was really valuable.
Yeah, so we had we obviously monitor our reputation online and what people are saying about us, and there was a rather bizarre comment that a prospect made on one of these rating sites, and the challenge was, you know, I dug into the information myself and looked into it and actually had a conversation with the gentleman, and the story was very bizarre. It was something along the lines of our sales rep went to their house and he was trying to portray his wife as a spy that was, you know, and he could travel back and forth to Russia. It was a bizarre story. So I looked into it. The sales rep that went to his house was a single gentleman, wasn't even married, so it obviously wasn't us. I took it up with the provider because I disputed the comments saying that this, you know, clearly couldn't have been us. The challenge for me was that the onus was on me to prove it. So I had to go back to the customer or the prospect and have a conversation with him, and lo and behold, he took a day to call me back and said, yeah, you're right, I had 5 companies out here, it wasn't you guys, it was another guy. So then he had to go back to the provider and remove his comments. It was a rather lengthy process to get it done, but you know, we achieved what we were trying to do because it clearly wasn't us.
Well, that's great. That's great news, because a lot of people feel like they get those, and you know, I guess the lesson learned there is don't give up, track it down, and you could probably get a good result out of it. I don't know if, Leah, you have a quick, I know we have to move on to some other questions, but do you have any quick thoughts on that, about how to remove bad reviews that aren't warranted?
Yeah, absolutely. A challenge that that our owner, Scott Barr, will give to clients who have put up a negative review is to say, if we can do this for you, if we can do this for you, and you're totally satisfied at the end, would you go and modify your review to either, you know, change it completely, or to at least add that part in? And more than one time, they have gone back and changed an answer that they have put on some of those reviews because they ended up being satisfied. So when you go the extra mile for people, they are much more willing to go that mile with you. So
Awesome
definitely
advice.
reaching out to them helps.
Yeah, Leah, great. That's great advice. Okay, measurement. Let's talk for a second about how you guys measure your online marketing efforts. And again, we'll tee it up with George first.
Okay, there's 2 things that we track. I mean, ultimately, if you're looking to track revenue, we track that through leads generated in revenue as a result of whatever the campaign was. So that's the hard number that we measure. The other thing that we measure is the tone of the conversation. So wherever our name's popping up, try to find out what the tone of that conversation is, and if there's you know, if there's something that we did wrong, or if there's something where we feel that we could have made an improvement, is to go back and engage the person and see what we can do to make it right. So, you know, those are the tools that we really use.
Great. Leah, what do you guys do for the online measurement?
We track leads and appointments and demonstrations and sales and dollars earned so that we can figure out the cost per lead, the cost per appointment, et cetera, so that we can tell which channels are performing well and which are not. We use data in our CRM, in our accounting software to determine all of that. And that way we can give a definitive answer to, yes, this channel is working, here's the cost of marketing for it that proves that it's working. Because at the end of the day, you want to invest your time and your money into something that will give you a return on that investment, a definitive return, as much as possible. And we also use website analytics just to track and determine the effectiveness of our website. Is it, you know, easy for people to find their way around? And there are so many awesome analytics tools out there that can help you determine if your website is performing the way you want it to perform as well.
Yeah. Jamie, you talked about some specifics on what you use in terms of dashboards and things like that. I'd love to kind of get you to share that.
Sure, absolutely. We use Google Analytics to track the website traffic. We also use Raven SEO tools to kind of measure our SEO and keyword ranking. We also use Google AdWords to kind of measure and track our conversion rates for our different PPC. And we also track our lead costs. So every week I kind of monitor the performance of our sources. We'll make changes.
Yeah. Now, in Google Analytics, do you set up goals for all your different conversion mechanisms so you could track leads by different types of goals?
We don't use it that way. I kind of just use it to where people are coming in, how long they're, and kind of their track through the,
okay.
What keywords they're using.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the common thing you all are doing is not only tracking cost per lead, but then cost per sale. Because what you might have is an efficient cost per lead in a channel, it might not convert as well with the in-home sales effort. So I think it's important to really kind of bring that down to the cost per sale and look at all those metrics all the way down funnel. I think that's a kind of a common theme that you guys seem to share. How do you think about online marketing and social media? How do you think it's going to shape the future of the industry? It's changing fast. We all know that, and I guess we all feel a little bit overwhelmed by that. But how do you think it's going to shape kind of the way you think about marketing over the next, kind of short term and longer term? And George, we'll tee that up with you first.
Okay, so I think it's going to force companies to deliver better customer service because, if you go back to the old analogy that, a dissatisfied customer is going to tell X amount of people and a happy person is going to tell Y amount of people, that, it's a whole lot easier to do it through social media right now. So I think it's going to force a transparency on a lot of businesses and force people to deliver better customer service.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There's also ways to do customer service using social media where you could ping people. I think it's not that sophisticated where it's there yet, or not many people do it that way for sort of a really broad market, but I think it might get there soon. And Leah, what about you? What are you guys thinking?
Well, our owner, Scott Barr, is always saying the Internet makes it really hard for the bad guys to hide now, and it really helps the good guys to shine. Just like George said, it's so easy now for people just to blast their opinions about the companies they've worked for just all over the Internet, and so it's hard for the bad guys to just hide in anonymity now because everyone can tell where they are failing in customer service or product quality and things like that. But then also just making sure that you as a company are meeting your clients and your consumers where they're at. In the digital world, people want the answers digitally. They want pictures. They want video. So you need to deliver that to them, and you're going to gain so many more clients because of that, just because what they're asking for, you're giving.
Yeah, good thoughts. Jamie, what about you? How are you seeing the kind of industry shaping up?
I mean, I completely agree with George and Leah regarding customers. That's very important, to continue to provide great service to your customers. I think also, companies are going to need to dedicate more resources to online marketing. There's a huge opportunity for growth with more people having access to, their tablets and smartphones. I think, focusing more marketing dollars on activity. I think also, too, improving response time for when the lead source is so contacting them quicker and finding ways to make it more.
Yeah, that response time thing is really, really important. As people use the Internet to search, they're going to probably have 2 or 3 different companies. They do a request a quote or call, and the ones that could react to that fastest is going to get a leg up. That's a good point. So I'm going to hand this back over to Mark to see what we've got in terms of questions in the chat tool.
All right, great. Well, Chris, we have a lot. We've probably gotten 30 questions or so during the course of the webinar. Jeff Graham, Guild Quality's founder and CEO, and I we've been reading through the questions. We've responded to some during the course of the meeting, but we'll start throwing them out there. And I know we're coming up on 45 minutes, but I think we can continue on a little bit longer for those that are interested. First question is, all of the panelists have talked a lot about the changing trends in social media and online marketing. What do you guys expect not to change as we look out into the future?
George, you want to start out with that one? Or?
Sure. Yeah, I think something that will never change is people going to their friends and neighbors to seek advice for whatever the project is they want to do. So, you know, years ago, we used to go knock door to door or talk to people at a barbecue or whatever and figure out who they would recommend for certain projects. Now they can do it through social media. So, you know, I think referrals are huge. I don't think that'll ever go away, and I think that through tools that Guild Quality has, we can publish those reviews real time and help people to make a good assessment of the company.
I'll put in my 2 cents, and we'll go to Leah and Jamie. But you know, I think that we're on a trajectory where content is really king in visibility, and I think the consistency is quality content. That's what Google and Bing and Yahoo and Facebook and everybody, you know, they're all competing for eyeballs and customers themselves, and they want to surface the best quality things. And I think we're in a trajectory here where you know, quality, you know, content that people put out is going to be something that's going to be important from here on in. Leah, what's your thoughts on what's not going to change?
You know, I think people are always going to probably need a little extra incentive to pay attention to you. There's a lot of things out there competing for their attention. And so eye-catching offers, specials that you can promote that are really of interest and really beneficial to the consumer, not just to you, but to the consumer, is a great way to get them in your door and get them to focus on you long enough for you to prove to them why you're a great fit for them. So, you know, just crafting these offers in a way that says, I'm thinking about you and your needs.
Great. Jamie?
I mean, I would have to echo George's, you know, statement that people definitely, you know, still want to keep people, and so making sure that there's personal when they reach out. That would be what I would.
So another question here, this one from Rebecca earlier on in the presentation. I'm going to paraphrase. She said, we want to keep our marketing up but don't have a lot of resources. If we focused on a few things, what should they be?
Well, I'll go first, and anybody else can echo in. But I think number one is, you know, you do have to have a good, responsive design, mobile-friendly website that's well organized, because that's where you want to be able to, you know, convert people leads, and you need to represent your company well, and have a blog. And the second thing I would say is have a blog that you regularly post to. If there's one thing for visibility that you could do, you know, forgetting everything else in SEO and backlinking and all that other stuff, if you have a blog, you'll do yourself a big favor and make sure that you've just got, you know, Google Maps and location data on that website. And then from there, you know, I would say, you know, a good backlinking strategy, and then social media and content creation is sort of the way I would tier that.
Chris, would you kind of briefly explain what responsive design means? That might be a new phrase for some people.
Yeah, you know, mobile, as some of the panels have talked about, is so big. It's becoming a bigger and bigger percentage of the views that people coming to your website has. And there's 2 ways to kind of respond to that. One is to create a mobile-specific site, you know, and the other is to take your website and make it what's called mobile responsive, so it actually reads the modality that someone's connecting to you with. It could be a smartphone or a tablet, and mobile responsive design now could be in something called HTML5. It's the latest version of HTML, which is a built-in video player. So it also sniffs the browser and optimizes the video and other things to browsers and has some location-specific stuff. We're of the minds that we tell our clients they ought to be on a mobile responsive design, because for SEO, you'd rather have one place you're sending everybody and get more of an audience there than fragment your audience over 2 different places. With mobile responsive, you could actually design what the customer is going to see by different types of device. So it's a really good way to go.
George, how about you? If you were suggesting to a remodeler to focus on just a handful of things, what would be at the top of your list?
I would echo the thoughts on mobile is huge, and we're seeing the conversion of more and more mobile leads. The other thing is, if you're going to pick one social media platform, Facebook would be the one that I would focus on today. So those would be my top two.
Okay, great. One more question from. Sorry.
Go ahead, please.
I was just going to add in, definitely invest in your blog. Do content that reflects the questions that the consumers are asking. It's an extremely low cost. It's really just a cost in time, but it will absolutely drive so much more traffic to your website. So focus on answering consumer questions on your blog.
Okay, great. Another question that's come in from the audience from Kirsten. After past clients or homeowners have completed their project, how do you keep them engaged in an ongoing way via social media?
Well, I'll try that. These other guys could. On social media, hopefully, if they've been a client of yours, you've gotten them in that process to like you or friend you or whatever the modality is for whatever the social medium is. But what we find in terms of kind of follow up and nurturing is newsletters. Part of the whole game in inbound marketing is to build a list so that there are some people who are ready to buy immediately, some people who are going to buy down the road, and you also want to activate good customers to recommend you and stay front and center with them. And having sort of a monthly newsletter is a great way to sort of nurture that list and activate that list for different types of things that you want them to do. And you could just recycle a lot of the content that you're normally producing, like blog posts and other types of things, before and after pictures, stuff like that, and just reuse those to create it so it doesn't have to be a huge project or a huge effort.
Jamie, what are you doing to stay engaged with customers after finishing projects?
We also will send out newsletters to previous customers. We'll have maybe topics. We sometimes have different formats for letters. It might be a quick one with current offers, or it might be more occasional, talking about different content.
Leah, George, do you have something to add to that question?
We also do a drip email campaign that's kind of personalized for each client. It just kind of makes us stay top of mind with them, just saying, how are you doing? Have you filled out your guild quality survey so that when we know you're satisfied, we want to make sure everything's still working for you, and that way we're always staying top of mind with them.
And we do exactly what Chris recommended. So we have a monthly email that we send out to our database, and a lot of the content is coming from some blog entries on our website. So it's not like we have to go create all new content again. So we keep prospects and customers in this list that we email on a monthly basis.
Guys, thanks a lot. We're over time already, but we're going to do one more question. What sources do you look to in order to stay on the cutting edge of web marketing and social media? Where are you guys getting all your brilliant wisdom from? Chris, can you start?
Well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. But Web Pro News is a really great resource for real cutting edge stuff. Search Engine Land is another really great resource if you really want to kind of get geeky and what have you. I recommend our blog at Surefire Social. You could sign up and get the newsletter and what have you, because we're always recycling, and I'm a writer on all those different publications that are
SurefireSocial.com. You heard that?
Yeah.
I think, Jamie, you were about to add something in there. I think I cut you off.
Oh, that's okay. Search Engine Journal, HubSpot, marketing blogs, IAB, the Interactive Advertising Bureau.
Leah or George?
Yeah, we also, in addition to all of those things that that were already mentioned, we also follow Marcus Sheridan, who's an internet strategist. His consulting group is called the Sales Lion. He's actually the one who got us started on this whole concept of if the consumers ask, you answer, you do it in a blog post, and that's going to gain you search engine traffic. So we follow him as well.
Great.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said, and in addition to that, some some marketing associations that put out regular publications, either on web or in print. We try to read as much as possible and stay on top of things.
Okay, great. Well, guys, those are some excellent responses, and rest assured for everyone who asked a question that we weren't able to get to, we will follow up after this webinar and answer your question. So, Chris, do you want to kind of wrap up with your call to action here?
Well, yeah. We put together 4 of our sort of most downloaded handbooks that you could get that kind of give you step-by-step instruction on a lot of the stuff that we talked about. We have a website audit handbook that's really a way to kind of evaluate how your website stacks up and how's it performing. A Facebook marketing guide to show you step-by-step how to do promoted posts, an ultimate Google magnet that shows you how to do Google Plus and YouTube and put it all together, and a bunch of other Google-owned properties, and a book called Digital Forensics that allows you to sort of reverse engineer what your competitors are doing. If you've always been kind of ticked off that you've got some competitors that seem to be knowing what they're doing and you want to kind of know what their secret sauce is, then I'll tell you how you can sort of reverse engineer that, kind of what we do when we take on a new client. You could download that all at surefiresocial.com/guild quality. We put that together just for people who attended this webinar.
That's fantastic, Chris. Thank you. And for all of the attendees here on the webinar who are not Guild Quality members, I know many are, but many are also folks that we've been in conversation with, and you've been considering joining Guild Quality. We'd encourage you to take advantage of our free trial. You can sign up for the trial directly on guildquality.com. It gives you the ability to survey 20 past clients. You'll learn some things about your business, certainly. And in addition, we'll present the results to you, so it'll really bring it to life. You'll see your actual customer satisfaction data in a Guild Quality account, and we can talk about the ways in which we can help you get that feedback out on the web to press your advantage in terms of your online reputation. So I would encourage you to go to guildquality.com and sign up for our free trial. So that concludes the webinar today. I want to thank everyone for attending. Please be on the lookout for our white paper, which we'll be sending out next week, summarizing this webinar. And thank you to Chris from Surefire, as well as our terrific panelists today. Everybody have a great afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.